Hello viewers, welcome to my channel. Subscribe to support, like the video to get started. You are alone in a room. No phone, no music, no voices. Just you. Within 4 minutes, something in your chest tightens. Your leg starts to bounce. Your hand drifts toward your pocket before you even notice it moving. This is not boredom. This is not impatience. This is something older than you are. Older than language, older than fire, and it is running your body right now without asking your permission. Silence should be restful. It is the absence of demands. Nobody needs anything from you in a silent room. And yet for most people, it feels less like rest and more like exposure. Why does the total absence of sound put your nervous system on edge? The real answer is far stranger than we're addicted to screens. Your discomfort with silence was written into you long before screens existed, long before language existed, long before your species even had a name for itself. You inherited this reaction the same way you inherited your eye color, quietly, automatically, from ancestors who never once heard a smartphone buzz. Start with a study that shocked the researchers who ran it. In 2014, psychologist Timothy Wilson and his team at the University of Virginia asked ordinary adults to sit alone in a bare room for 15 minutes. No phone, no book, no task, just their own thoughts. Before the experiment began, each participant was shown a small device that delivered a mild electric shock, a sensation they had already said they would pay real money to avoid. Then they were left alone with a single choice: sit quietly or press a button and shock themselves on purpose. A quarter of the women and nearly 2/3 of the men chose the shock. Some pressed it more than once. Given the option, they picked pain over stillness. Sit with that for a second. A room full of functioning adults decided that a jolt of electricity through their own skin was more bearable than 10 uninterrupted minutes with their own mind. That is not a modern character flaw. That is a very old alarm system, doing precisely what it was built to do. Here is the piece almost nobody tells you. For most of human history, silence did not mean peace. Silence meant something had stopped, and something stopping was rarely good news. Birds go quiet when a predator moves through the grass below them. Insects fall silent when a large animal passes near their patch of forest floor. Anyone who has walked through actual wilderness knows this instinctively. The moment the birdsong cuts out is the moment your whole body straightens. Your ancestors lived inside that logic every single day. Silence was not an empty room to them. Silence was a warning shot fired by the environment itself. And often, it was the very last sound before something far worse arrived. Your brain still runs that same ancient program, largely unedited. When the auditory world goes flat, a part of your nervous system called the orienting response switches on. It scans, it listens harder. It waits for a sound to explain the missing sound. When no explanation arrives, the system does not calm down. It escalates. Silence becomes a question your body cannot stop asking itself over and over, and no answer ever fully satisfies it. So you look for a substitute. A podcast, a notification chime. Anything with a sound attached, because sound, to that ancient part of you, has always meant information, and information has always meant survival. This is where loneliness research adds an even more unsettling layer to the picture. The psychologist John Cacioppo spent decades studying isolation at the University of Chicago, and his work found something remarkable. When people feel disconnected from others, even briefly, their brains become measurably more alert to potential threats in the surrounding environment. Not because lonely people are paranoid by nature, because isolation itself was once close to a death sentence. A human standing alone on an open plain, with no group to share the burden of watching for danger, had to watch for all of it by himself, all the time with no relief. Silence, to a mind that feels unaccompanied, doesn't register as calm. It registers as undefended. It registers as exposed ground. So when you sit in a quiet room today, some very old layer of you is not thinking about your grocery list or your unanswered messages. It is asking a far more primitive question, one your conscious mind never actually hears out loud. Is something out there? Am I unwatched right now? Am I actually safe, or does it just look that way? You reach for your phone. The room fills with sound again. A voice, a song, a stream of notifications. The alarm goes quiet almost instantly. You feel better within seconds, and you have almost no idea why. You call it a habit. It is closer to a reflex, one installed by evolution long before your species learned to build houses with locking doors. But here is the twist that changes the entire story. Silence is not actually your enemy. It only feels that way because your threat detection system has never been told the world changed. In 2013, a researcher named Imke Kirste at Duke University ran an experiment on mice, testing what happened inside their brains under 4 different sound conditions: white noise, recordings of pub calls, classical music, and total silence. The silence condition wasn't even the point of the study. It was only meant to serve as a baseline, a control group to measure the other conditions against. Instead, it produced the strongest effect of the entire experiment. 2 hours of silence each day led to significant new cell growth in the hippocampus, the brain region most closely tied to memory and learning. The condition designed to represent nothing happening turned out to be the one where the most was happening beneath the surface. Your body treats silence as danger. Your biology, quietly and without your permission, treats silence as fuel. Think about how strange that split actually is. The same 15 minutes that make your palms sweat and your thumb twitch toward a screen are, physiologically, some of the most productive minutes your brain will get all day. You are not broken for feeling uneasy in a quiet room. You are simply running hardware built for a world with saber-toothed cats, open grassland, and no streetlights. But the very discomfort that sends you lunging for noise is standing directly between you and one of the only states your brain has left to actually repair and rebuild itself. There's a reason this matters more now than it ever has before. Your ancestors were never truly silent for long. Even their quiet moments were filled with the low hum of a shared fire, the breathing of other bodies nearby, the distant sounds of a functioning ecosystem going about its business. Total, sealed artificial silence, the kind you get in a soundproofed apartment with the windows shut and every device turned off, is a genuinely new experience for a human nervous system. Your alarm system has no ancestral memory of it, no evolutionary precedent to draw from, so it defaults to the oldest interpretation available. Something stopped. Stay alert. Consider how differently your ancestors experienced quiet compared to you. A hunter-gatherer resting near a fire at dusk was surrounded by low-level continuous sound, crackling wood, distant insects, the shifting weight of other bodies nearby. That soundscape told the brain a simple, reassuring story. The group is here. The world is behaving normally. Nothing has changed. Your version of silence is nothing like that. Your silence is a hotel room at midnight, or an empty apartment after everyone else has left, or the sudden stillness after you close a laptop lid. There is no fire. There is no group. There is no ecosystem murmuring in the background to confirm that everything is fine. Your nervous system has been handed a completely unfamiliar situation, and it is doing its best with instructions written for a different world entirely. Now look at how modern life has quietly exploited this exact vulnerability. Every notification sound, every autoplay feature, every app designed to fill dead air exists because someone noticed, deliberately or not, that humans will pay almost any price to avoid unfilled silence. You are not weak for reaching toward the noise. You are responding exactly the way 100,000 years of selection pressure trained you to respond. The tragedy is not that you crave sound. The tragedy is that an entire industry has learned to profit from that craving, one push notification at a time, feeding the same ancient alarm bell instead of ever letting it finish ringing. And yet, the mice in Kirsty's lab did not get a notification. They got 2 hours of nothing, and their brains built something new out of it anyway. That detail matters more than it first appears. Growth did not require stimulation. It required the absence of it. It required a nervous system finally left alone, long enough to stop scanning for threats and start doing quieter, slower, more important work in the background. Your brain, in other words, may not need more input. It may simply need permission to stop bracing for the next sound that never actually arrives. Notice what happens the next time a room goes quiet around you. Notice the itch in your hand before it even moves toward your phone. That itch is not really about boredom, and it was never really about entertainment. It is a Savannah-era alarm bell, ringing inside a world that no longer contains lions in the grass or leopards in the trees, or any of the dangers that alarm was built to warn you about. You don't have to obey it every single time it rings. Try sitting for 1 more minute than you normally would. Let the alarm ring itself out instead of silencing it immediately. It will not kill you. It was never actually designed to fire inside a locked bedroom with a working deadbolt on the door. It was designed for an open plane that stopped mattering to your daily survival a very long time ago, and it never received the memo that the world had moved on without it. What if the very silence you've spent your whole life trying to escape is the thing your mind has actually been waiting for all along? You are alone in a room, no phone, no music, no voices, just you. This time, stay a little longer. Watch what your mind does when nobody interrupts it and nothing arrives to fill the gap. You might discover that the quiet was never empty at all. It was only ever waiting for you to stop running from it.